Coach, let's start with the defense. Backed up deep in their own end zone there and came up with a goose egg. That's great defense.
Yeah, shutouts don't come along too often, so to get that, I think on one hand is impressive. Our inability to get them off the field was not very impressive today. But there's a team with nothing to lose. They've been going for it on fourth down all season. So they cross midfield. It's like they cut an extra down, and ultimately, they were able to move it in there quite a bit. I think they punt one time. So yes, pleased with the defense, and their ability to, we bent quite a bit, but we didn't break. Came up with some big plays down in the red zone, and ultimately, that's the mark of a defense that's making some strides. But ideally, we get off the field a little bit more. But a lot of credit goes to Mercyhurst. Their quarterback, he's played a lot of football, and he's a good football player. He finds a way to make plays over and over again, and I thought they played really well.
Talk about the progress from game 3 to game 4.
Well, I think this opponent was better first off, and I think felt that way all through the week. Felt like they were going to be a greater challenge, and they shrunk the game down by how they played offense, staying on the field. Offensively, we had 6 possessions, didn't score in the second half, turned the ball over once, and ultimately finished the ball in our hands. But I think each one of these opportunities to go out there and play in itself allows for progress, another opportunity to measure ourselves against someone else. So, heading into conference play, I think we got improvement that continues to be in front of us, and we got to figure out how to make it. And it's a group of guys that are, I think, working really hard. Continue to recognize and get challenged is what it's apparent to me that we need, and that we got challenged today, and we came out on top, and that's the bottom line.
Coach, offense just looked pretty good early, and then kind of just stalled in the second half. Was that more of a product of what they were doing offensively, just keeping you off the field, or?
Well, we settled for a field goal. We were down to the 1 in the first half. I think that's huge. We got to score a touchdown there. Thinking the second half, we were moving the ball, very efficient. We throw an interception, and then they took the air of the ball a little bit. So then this gap, and the mode changes, and we go 3 and out, and that's kind of it. Honestly, that's kind of it. We get the last possession to finish it out, but I think offensive football sometimes is success is a product of rhythm and getting back out there quickly, and that just didn't happen a lot today. And again, I think a lot of credit goes to Mercyhurst. I don't think they did anything differently in the second half. We just came up short in the first half, not opening that lead up a little bit more like we should have, and then we didn't open it up at all in the second half. So thankfully, we kept them out of the end zone, and still won by 3 scores.
Defensively, like you mentioned, Mercyhurst had really long drives. I guess how you feel like your defense just held up on that, continually going for it on 3rd and 4th down.
Yeah, we knew that was going to be the case. You really needed to get them off schedule when they were backed up, and that's where we struggled today. We allowed them to get to midfield all too often, and once they were in that mode, they were going to go for on 4 down. So their mode is quite a bit different. Or 4th down, they're going to go for it. So. And then what happens is that ability changes as you get closer, though. That becomes that much harder. When the field's not open up, say from the 25 to the 50, you're defending more field there, and you squeeze that inside the 25. That mindset isn't as foolproof, I guess. So, knowing how they're going to go about their business, keeping them off the scoreboard, I think we can be really pleased with that. But to me, it's how did those drives start when they were backed up? What plays could we have made there to make them more a 3-down team, and ultimately the 4-down team they became once they crossed midfield.
Speaking of that, just some of the plays that you guys did make, Paul forcing the fumble and then Ryan getting the pick as well.
Yeah, and those were both on 4th down, so we're getting back anyways. But yeah, to get a couple takeaways, to get them in really, it's a couple times pretty desperate 4th down situations. What I really appreciate about the defense is they hung in there. And you can build off of that. A team that's gonna, you know, maybe allow some things here, but hang in there and make the next play, and take that next call and execute it to the best of our ability. So I think we did that, and I'm certain we'll learn, you know, quite a bit from this film on all ends. And you know, keeping them to 0 again is that's something to be pretty excited about.
Offensively, a lot of movement on the offensive line with Burke coming back. Can you just speak to kind of the decision to put certain guys in different places throughout the game?
Well, we were going to go with, you know, 3 different combinations. Again, trying to sort out what our best combination is. So when you end up having 6 possessions, it really probably didn't play out too much. I know we'll look at the film and you know, assess how that all looked, but you know, with that thought in mind, we didn't even get to our 3rd rotation until the second half. I mean, you're looking to, you know, have maybe a 10 possession game to really let it play out. So it's good to have him back. You know, I think getting him back at least one game before conference starts is great, and we just have to figure out how we're going to work it from there.
And Justin had some nice plays, obviously, and then the kind of stall out on the field goal there. I know you had some words with him, but just what did you kind of think about some of those missed throws and the read there, and just
well, the sequence, hand the ball off on 1st down, yeah. And whether we get a yard or not, we're at the 1 yard line. He took a loss there. That to me was, and then the next play he didn't make. You know, we got a guy open in the end zone, and you know, that didn't happen. So I think, you know, I think for him there'll be plenty of learning out here. You know, he doesn't have to make every play with his feet. I think there was times, I think about the 3rd down in the second, you know, 4th quarter, where he took off and he was short. Just hang in there and throw it to somebody else, let them do the work. You know, and for all the plays he's made with his legs, you know, we got guys out there that we want to distribute the ball to that can do some things. We got to keep finding ways to do just that.
I guess, and then on the play right before you got to the 1, Chris had a nice gain. So just getting him back, how did you feel like he looked?
Yeah, we were going to limit him. You know, so to get a couple touches and do a couple things was great. You know, hopefully how we limit him today can change moving forward. You know, said it since he's been here. I think he's a guy that can make plays, and you know, had a couple opportunities today, but you know, that workload hopefully can grow.
Such a strange game, Coach. Is it, you know, difficult to evaluate just, you know, whether you're meeting your standard and things like that in a game like this?
Well, that's what I said to the team. You know, we've raised the bar, so our expectation is super high, and it doesn't mean you're always going to meet it. And you're in a good spot if you can come out in the winning side of it. You're in a good spot if you can say, okay, here's all the things we learned, and we gotta give Mercyhurst credit too. And you know, a challenging situation. I mean, they were a completely different team than last year, and you know, you can get caught up in saying, well, this team came in here last year and we did this. No, we can't do that. You know, we're gonna get everybody's best shot, and that's a much better team than they were last year, and they managed the game very well outside, not put points up on the board. So yeah, well, we got to appreciate winning, but I don't want to lose sight of that expectation at the same time. So it's a tricky thing. You know, imagine a lot of our guys felt like we didn't play up to our standard, but I think you got to take a step back and look at why. And again, your opponent has a contribution to that. And then, okay, what did we do within that to make it a little harder on ourselves than we would like?
You said it on Monday and you said it there again. What were any major differences you noticed from this Mercyhurst team?
They're better players. Yeah. They overhauled their roster. You know, they moved to FCS in the spring year before. They moved to Division II. Now they got a full year of recruiting. Just better players. You know, better up front. That you know, they just looked different. They got the same quarterback, but good skill players, and yeah, I think they just have better players.
Did you like just the run game more today? Was it kind of the same as how you felt last week?
Well, I think it was had flashes for sure. You know, I think there was maybe a better level of consistency. You know, I don't know off the top of my head what our efficiency was. I think that's still where we're struggling a little bit. There's too many inefficient runs. So, you know, first down, we want to get 4 instead of 2. My memory's bad, but I feel like we had a lot of 1s and 2s on first down, and you know, that's the part that we eliminate. We popped some runs more in the first half, You know, so maybe a step, but I think we clearly have a ways to go.